Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are doing another comprehensive scrub review. We have 5 different scrub brands today, all of which we have not tried on the channel before. We have a brand that has incredibly inclusive sizing, a brand that is basically legging material in scrub form, and a couple more brands that I have not yet tried, including a brand that is supposed to be made for athletic bodies. So I'm excited. If you're new here, my name is Kathryn. I do a lot of activewear reviews, but at least once a year I try to do a comprehensive scrub review of a bunch of different brands because there are not enough people doing scrub reviews on YouTube. If you have any questions about other scrub brands, I'll link my past scrub reviews in the description below because we've reviewed a bunch of brands like Figs, Jaanuu, Mediclo, Mandala, all the popular scrub brands I have tried before, so make sure to check those out. And without further ado, let's get into it. I feel like we have to start out with the Scope scrub because these have been super highly requested. So a lot of these scrubs are gray because that was my dental school class color, and I say was because I am now done with dental school and I am a dentist. I am licensed, I have passed all the things, I have graduated, so now I can wear whatever color I want. So I will probably not be wearing the gray very much, but I'm not gonna throw out perfectly good scrubs. Scope is a small women-owned scrub company, and there are no other scrubs that are like these. There are definitely some pros and cons, but these are literally a legging material made into scrub form. So here's a close-up of the material. It's kind of just like a basic legging material. It's not sleek performance, it's not super brushed, but it has a ton of stretch to it and literally feels like you're wearing leggings in scrub form. I bought these on Black Friday and I've worn these at least once a week since, so I've gotten a good, like, I don't know, 15 wears and washes out of these. And something that really concerned me about these was if you've had leggings before and your thighs touch, leggings can often pill between the thigh area, and I was worried that these would have that problem. Listen, my thighs touch. I've walked around in these. I have worn and washed them. I actually dry them as well, which looking back, maybe I shouldn't have been drying them because I don't dry my leggings, but this material has not pilled and it has held up incredibly well. So I can't say that about all the scrubs today, which is surprising, but the Scope scrub material, I would not be worried about the quality and the pilling because it has held up. Here is the area between the thighs. I'd say it's maybe like a tiny bit more worn than some of the other places, but there is no pilling. So I just had to get that out of the way. Also, in terms of pricing, their tops are $30 and the bottoms are $42, which is actually pretty reasonably priced. And when I bought these last year on Black Friday, they only had one length of the bottoms and their sizing was a little more limited. The owner of this company, she's just really awesome. So they have expanded their sizing since I purchased. The size range is now 2XS to 3XL, and they also now have different lengths for the bottoms. So these joggers, they are a little bit short for me, but just keep in mind they didn't have longer versions when I bought these and they do now. Let's start out with the Scope hairy one pocket top. So I wear a size extra small and these are $30. Generally in Fig scrubs for reference, also I have all of my measurements down below. For Figs, I wear a small in everything, but in these stretchier brands, I tend to size down because I tend to wear a small mostly so it fits my bust, but because these are so stretchy, it's not really an issue. So I don't like my scrubs to be super baggy, so I have an extra small here. So I definitely prefer a one pocket top. So that's what this is. It has the one pocket on the left here, kind of shorter sleeves than maybe most scrubs, and then some seam detailing down the back to keep it a little more of a tapered shape. This material definitely does collect a little bit of pet fur and lint. Definitely not as bad as some super brushed leggings. If you wear a dark color and you have light colored pets or anything, you will be lint rolling before you walk out the door. So let's try this on. All right, here's the top, and it is an extra small, and it still is like maybe a little bit snug on the bust. It's not pulling as much as like the other stretchy scrubs we'll try today. So I generally feel like sizing down one size compared to your normal scrub size is kind of the way to go because these definitely don't feel too tight anywhere. They're also super stretchy, so lots of space. They're still slightly boxy, but overall a slimmer shape. We have a pretty spacious pocket up here. The V-neck is a little bit on the higher side, but it's not like awkwardly high. Regular short sleeves. The length of the top, so it has a kind of a scooped hem along the side, which I think is cute, especially if you are not going to tuck it in. Then the length goes over my hips, so it's a good length. I'm gonna tuck these in now. And these scrubs definitely stay tucked in all day. That is one thing I really like about them. I'm not like constantly adjusting the top or anything. And you can see the top has a little bit of flow to it when tucked in, but it's not like super baggy, oversized, which I know some people actually like a larger top to tuck in for that kind of like blousey look. This one's definitely not going to be that. And then here's the back. Just overall a super comfortable scrub top to wear, has a ton of stretch. Then we have the Thea 8-pocket jogger. So I went with the joggers because the other pants, they didn't come in the long version when I was buying these, and joggers I feel like are allowed to be like a little bit shorter than regular pants, or not like allowed as if there are really rules, but I just feel like it looks more normal if your joggers are a little bit above the ankle than your straight leg pants. So I also got a size extra small in these. I was between the small and extra small, but I'm glad I went with the extra small. So we have an elastic waistband with a drawstring. I will say a quality issue I did notice was that the drawstrings initially had little metal aglets on them, and on the first day I wore them, they just fell right off. So it's not an issue because there are still these little plastic aglets, so you still have little plastic at the end of the drawstring, but it did kind of make me concerned for the rest of the quality. I will say everything else is held up, but that was a little bit of a concern on day one, the aglets just falling off. So we'll talk about some issues I have with the pants when they're on, but we have some pockets up at the front here that I don't love the style of, and then we do have side pockets, which I do like, and then we have kind of a slimmer cuff at the bottom, and these do get pretty snug at the bottom for me, so they almost look like leggings at the bottom. And then the back just has one pocket as well, so let's try these on. All right, here are the bottoms. So they actually go quite a bit above my belly button, and they're not even labeled as high rise. So these are a super high rise, just regularly. The white drawstring, I feel like I would have maybe chosen a slightly different color, but at least it's neutral. You can wear any shoes with it. Sometimes when the drawstring is a certain color, I feel pressured to like match my shoes to the drawstring. All right, then let's get into some things I don't love about these scrubs. So first of all, I really don't like these pockets. They are constantly all like bagged up on the inside. You really have to make an effort to make sure that they're all smooth, because or else like if you just put them on, you're not really paying attention throughout the day, you can get little situations like this, or it just looks very bulky. And when the pants themselves are a very slim fit, you see a lot of that bulk. And then the side pockets, very spacious side pockets. I really like these. So the left side is just one pocket. The right, it has a couple different layers, but there are no zippers or anything. And then the back, I wish they had just regular kind of sewn on pockets like this in the back, because we have no pocket here, which makes you able to see the tucked shirt quite a bit. And then here again is a pocket that I really don't like, because it does things like this. It just like tries to stick out. I feel like especially on back pockets, the tucked pockets don't really stay, and then you just kind of have a lumpy butt, and I don't like lumpy butt. So I hope they change these pockets, because I'm just not a fan of the style of them. And something that I've noticed after wearing these for months and wearing them throughout the day is that the crotch kind of likes to stay low. Like the crotch is definitely not at my crotch. These aren't gym leggings. I'm not trying to pull them up my butt, you know? But I just feel like they should be a little bit higher, and they just don't stay like that. Because if I were to put them up to where my crotch is, the waistband would literally be at my rib cage. And I have a longer torso than like 99% of people. I'm 5'9", mostly torso, not as much legs. I just feel like some of the sizing needs to be adjusted a little bit. Again, I haven't tried these in a couple months, so it's possible that some of the sizing has been fixed, but my friend got these as well, and she's on the shorter side. They just overwhelm her entire torso, so she can't even tuck these in because it looks like it's literally up to her bra. So maybe I'll have to revisit these to see if anything has changed, but for now, I think that they're even too high rise, which is coming from someone who likes a high rise. And just definitely throughout the day, when they do kind of sag down a little bit, you know, I just feel like I have a little saggy butt. It's just like not the cutest look. They are a little bit short for me, especially when I do kind of pull them up where they need to be. And they're a very snug jogger, to the point where there's no like real excess fabric for me around the like cuff area. So they honestly kind of look like leggings when you're wearing them. So if you like that look, great. Personally, I think that they're just like a little bit too snug, and I just would prefer if they really looked like joggers as opposed to leggings. So I feel like maybe like a slightly more elasticized cuff would make them look a little bit more like joggers instead of this really slim cuff that makes them look like leggings. Again, that's kind of more personal preference, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like they don't look like scrubs. And then in terms of stretch, a ton of stretch. These are definitely the stretchiest scrubs of the day, so that's also a big plus. All right, the next scrub brand we're reviewing is Dolan scrubs. So these are another pair of scrubs that I have worn for probably a good 5 or 6 months now. And I was super excited about these when I first got them because they had high rise bottoms that were straight leg, which can be really hard to find. And this brand is also really size inclusive. Not only are they a 3XS to 2XL, but they also have some bottoms that come in a curvy fit, which I did not actually get to try. I don't think those were available when I got these scrubs, and I probably will not be repurchasing this brand brand for reasons we will get into in a second, which is why I have not tried the curvy fit, but their bottoms come in 5 different lengths. So if you are extra short or extra tall, Dolan has got you covered. So this brand is also pretty similar pricing to Scope. The top was $36 and the bottoms were $46, so about a mid price point. And when you first wear them, the fabric feels very similar to Figs. It's kind of like a slightly brushed, typical scrub material, not shiny, just has a little bit of give, not really any stretch. So I assumed that this would be similar to Figs material. It would wear well. I have pairs of Figs that I have worn once a week for 4 years, washing, drying in between, and they still look brand new. Not a single pill, no issues. So personally, I do purchase Figs and I think they're worth it. But I was trying to switch it up with these Dolan scrubs, and the fabric longevity on these is just not there, which is such a surprise because you would think this fabric would be more durable than the legging material of the Scope scrubs. But just on this top, I don't even know how I got this pilling here, but I have pilling across the entire front of the top. And for me, it just looks like kind of unpolished. And if I want to be a professional, I do like wearing scrubs, wearing dentistry as opposed to like business attire, because you can't tell me that you're dry cleaning your clothes every single day, and that's just gross. Anyways, I do like to look polished in my scrubs, and I feel like when you have this pilling going on, it's just not looking very polished. So you can see all of the pilling going on the front of this top here. At least I hope you can see on camera, but you can definitely see it in person, and it's just not good. So for that reason, I just don't really trust the Dolan material, and I will not be repurchasing, but we're still gonna review the rest of the scrubs. So this is the Dolan Mayfair V-neck 2-pocket scrub top. I got a size extra small, but I definitely could also wear a small, so I would say it's pretty similar to Figs sizing. It does have a pretty boxy overall fit. We have a V-neck at the top, and then I don't know why it's called 2 pockets, I guess because this front pocket has like a little pen pocket there, and then it doesn't have any tapered stitching or anything to make it a little more of a tapered fit. It's just kind of your typical boxy scrub top. So let's try it on. All right, here's the scrub top. So this one is actually an extra small. I will say their size chart, I remembered looking at it before, and it's just not the best. Like for the bottoms, they said it would be an extra small, and the small fits me the best. Like I tried even an extra small, didn't even fit me. So I would kind of stick with your normal like Fig size, not necessarily trust the size chart. So this is an extra small. I will say it feels like most scrub smalls, so the tops might run a little bit big, except I definitely do get some tightness in my arms without even fully extending them. So definitely a little bit too tight up top for me, but then still quite boxy overall. We do have the 2 little slits at the side as well. So yeah, boxy shape, classic pocket. I'd say it's decently spacious, and then very plain on the back. Again, just not a big fan of this material. It just doesn't hold up very well, and I feel like the sizing just is a little bit off. This fabric also definitely collects more pet fur and stuff than a Figs scrub. I feel like it's because of the fabric pilling. It just kind of like collects more fur that way. All right, then we're moving on to the pants. These are the Dolan District high-waisted 6-pocket core scrub pant. So I bought these pants when I was on a search for the Figs high-rise Cade cargo pants. I'm a tall girl and I need a high rise. So I'm done purchasing the regular rise, and my favorite scrub bottoms are the Figs high-rise Cade cargos. They are really stingy about coming out with more colors than that. So I was like, okay, they don't have it in gray, so I'm gonna buy these because they popped up as an Instagram ad actually, and they are a high-rise straight leg scrub bottom, and sometimes I just don't want to wear joggers. So here they are. Something that I'm just now noticing is that the top part of the waistband, it is actually like a little more of a like legging-like material. It's stretchier, but I guess over time, because I have worn these quite a bit, the color is just not matching for the waistband and the body of the pant. So I don't love that. We have these little pink drawstrings here, 2 front pockets, 2 side pockets. The side pockets are smaller than most though, so I can actually like barely fit a phone in there. So if you have a really big phone, probably not gonna be these. These do have butt pockets though, which I like. The Cade cargos don't have that, but I feel like a butt pocket just like makes it look a little bit better back there. And then they're straight all the way down to the bottom with no slit or anything. All right, so here are the bottoms. They actually are high rise. I just haven't tightened the drawstring yet though. So if we work them up where they're supposed to be, they go above the belly button. They are high rise. I feel like I have a good amount of space in the waist, but they are pretty snug in the thighs already. Maybe their curvy fit would be better. I haven't really looked into their curvy fit too much, but I would try it if it was a better material, but I'm just not so sure about the material, as we said. So anyways, this is what the scrubs look like. No tuck in, and I'm gonna tuck in the top. So we have that more like yoga style waistband, and I just feel like whenever I wore these to school, just didn't feel like my most flattering scrubs. I feel like the waistband kind of stretched out a little bit throughout the day. They didn't stay up at a high rise, where something like the high-waisted Figs Cade cargos, those stay up really well. Definitely feel like I rely a lot on the waistband on this one. You still get quite a bit of fabric around here, yet it is very snug on the thighs. So I wouldn't say these are the most thick thigh friendly. We have the two front pockets, and like I said, the side pockets, they are actually pretty small, so it just barely fits my phone. So if you have like an iPhone XL or whatever it's called, I don't know, a Max, that's what it's called. I just have the Pro. If you have the Max, it's probably not going to fit in the side pocket, and it's the same pocket on the other side. And then we do have pockets in the back. I do like these pockets. Okay, now for a full length view, these are the long version. They hit a pretty good place on me. They could be maybe even an inch longer, but overall they are not like too long. They're not dragging on the ground, but they still don't look like floods. They are a straight leg, and they don't have any sort of slits on the bottom or anything, so they're just straight up and down. They're not a skinny leg or anything, just kind of a more wide straight leg. So I do like the leg shape of these as well. The fabric really doesn't have very much stretch, but because it is a more wide leg and not a super snug fit, I don't really have an issue moving around in these. So I liked these at first. Just the more I've worn them, the less I like them. I got these in the tall length, and they are a 32-inch inseam, but they also have an extra tall inseam. I think it's like 35. So if you're super, super tall, definitely go with the extra tall. Okay, next is a brand that I have been meaning to try since the beginning of dental school, and that is Fitscrubs. So obviously, as someone who started her Instagram as a fitness page, I guess I am kind of still a fitness page, but I don't like truly identify as like a fitness influencer. Anyways, and then I started wearing scrubs. Obviously, I was going to hear about Fitscrubs. This is a scrub company that makes stretchy scrubs. It is definitely aimed toward the like fitness demographic, so people who want to be able to like move in their scrubs, people with a little more like athletic builds, and I feel like that definitely fits me. So clearly I can't speak a lot to the longevity of these scrubs because this is going to be my first time trying them, but if I have any updates over time, I will let you guys know. So we're gonna start out with the Evrpur women's scrub joggers. I believe they do have a couple lengths, but they definitely could use a couple more lengths. I think like the joggers have a regular and a short, and then the straight leg pants have a regular and a long. They don't have all three short, medium, long options for every pant style. The size range is also extra, extra small to extra, extra large, so that's pretty good. And the pants, they start at $53.99, but this is a website where you can always find a discount code. I think I used code like mobile15 or something and just got like 15% off, so I saved a little money. So they're advertised as having pure thread antimicrobial technology. A lot of scrubs will advertise this. I have not done my own tests to see if bacteria truly don't grow on these, but as always, wash your scrubs every time you wear them. And it says they also have anti-odor protection, moisture wicking, and a 4-way stretch. So these don't feel like a legging material like the scope scrubs, but I assume they will have good stretch. So definitely not as much stretch as the scope scrubs, but I'm still getting some horizontal and vertical stretch, so holds true to their 4-way stretch and much stretchier than most scrub brands. So I got a size extra small in the joggers. Sometimes when they are extra stretchy scrub brands, I just size down to an extra small instead of my normal small, because usually I get the small for a little more space in the thighs and the glutes, but I feel like scrub brands in general run a little bit larger as opposed to like legging brands where I'm always a small. So I hope these fit. I actually initially tried to order a small in the straight leg pants as well, but for some reason those did not ship, so we just got these. All right, so we have an elastic waistband. Okay, we just have traditional drawstring, not an elastic drawstring, which I prefer. We have front pockets. We have back pockets that seem awkwardly close together, but hopefully that looks normal when it's on. Ooh, there are no side pockets. I personally need that side pocket for either, oh wait, just kidding, just kidding. There is a side pocket, it's just a little bit strangely shaped. I like to use this side pocket for either my loop light or my phone. And then we have little cuffs at the bottom. And here is the fabric up close. It's more like a typical jogger material than a legging material. It has a little bit of stretch to it, almost slightly sleek performance. So these should be good for pet fur resistance as well. All right, so here are the bottoms. So I definitely can wear the extra small because they actually have quite a bit of stretch to them. So we're actually gonna be rating them as a high stretch. Didn't feel like it necessarily when it was off, but now that I'm wearing them, I really have no restrictions. But I definitely feel like I could still wear the small and just have a little extra space and not quite as snug of a fit. So I originally planned on ordering small and extra small, but like I said, the smalls didn't arrive. So I feel like I might prefer a small just for a slightly less snug fit. So the rise is a mid rise. Again, I prefer a high, but not a lot of brands have really nailed the high rise at this point. And then we also have the drawstring waist, but with this extra small, it's actually perfectly snug on my waist as is. We have 2 front pockets lined with a slightly different material. Let me just quickly tuck the top in. Okay, so top is tucked. I like how the waistband feels on this one. We have those front pockets, and they actually have side pockets on both sides, but it's kind of like on the back of the leg, which is a little bit strange to me because I feel like when you're sitting, you would kind of like if I put my phone in here, you kind of sit on your phone when you do this. So, I mean, I know back pockets are the same problem, but I just prefer a more like true side pocket. But we do have those on either side and they seem pretty spacious. Oh, I really thought there was not a zipper pocket. There actually is one right here, a little bit smaller. Oh, just kidding, it actually fits a full phone. So again, kind of weird placement, but at least we do have a zippered pocket there. And we have the back pockets. Again, I feel like they're kind of close together, but that's just where they are. And that zipper pocket is just on the one side. And let's do a full length view. All right, so this is the regular length on me. Goes right above my ankles. They definitely are a skinnier fit down the leg. They almost look like a legging fit. There's really no looseness. Usually with jogger scrubs, they're snug on my calves and they get a little bit of looseness before the cuff, but these are just kind of tight all the way down. So just a more snug like fit, but it's not really a problem because these are super stretchy, so I have lots of freedom of movement. So if you're in a job that you need to be moving around a lot, maybe like, I don't know, like a physical therapist, occupational therapist, someone like that, where you are moving around a lot, need to be bending down a lot too, I feel like a nice stretchy scrub like this is good. Yeah, they're definitely comfy. I think I would prefer a size up, even though these aren't necessarily too tight anywhere. I just maybe prefer a slightly more relaxed fit, and I would love a high rise. But I also love that these would also be pet fur resistant, so they just feel like a nice material for every day. Okay, and then I got the Evrpur women's scrub top. I also got a size extra small in this. So same material as the leggings. We do have those little seams in the back to make it a little more of a tapered fit instead of a typical like super oversized boxy scrub top. Looks like the top is going to be kind of a higher up v-neck, which is nice because you don't want to be like leaning over and like risk showing your bra or anything. One little pocket up there, which is my preferred scrub style. Let's try this on. All right, so here's the top. This is the extra small. As you can see, it definitely is a little bit snug on the chest, but I feel like all of the models on the website tend to wear their scrubs on the tighter side, so I feel like that's something that Fitscrubs kind of advertises. It does feel just a little bit tight in the armpits for me, so for that reason, I might actually choose the small. So this is just a quick look at it tucked in right now. I find that these stretchier scrubs stay tucked a little bit better because they don't like pull out immediately when you lift up your arms. But I am going to untuck it now, and you can just tell this is a much more fitted scrub top than some of the other ones. You don't have that boxy shape, so if you're someone who doesn't love a super boxy top, this is definitely a little more fitted. Still got good length though, it's going like over the hips. The pocket on this one is a little bit small, definitely smaller than most typical scrub brands, so depending on what you're going to be using it for. I tend to keep my mask in this little pocket between patients. The v-neck is quite high. It was like a little bit more snug to get over my head, but a lot of coverage, and I feel like the sleeves are a little bit shorter, almost more like cap sleeve length, and definitely really good stretch on this one, so I'm totally okay in this extra small, but I do think I would maybe prefer the small just for a little more space in the armpits, just because it does feel a little bit snug up there. That's kind of the only spot where I'm feeling kind of snug. Maybe it's because my bust area is kind of making that a little bit tighter. Do what you will with that about the sizing, but yeah, I mean, they're comfortable. I like the material, and it feels lightweight and stretchy. All right, next is a brand that we have tried before, but they have kind of rebranded. So this is Jaanuu. So I feel like they made all these posts and like this big deal about how they were like rebranding and everything. And this is their new like G14 collection. And it's supposed to be like revolutionary new scrubs. And I just am kind of not seeing it. They just kind of feel like the regular scrubs to me. So don't expect huge changes. But anyways, I have the G14 new Jaanuu scrubs. I have to say something about the Jaanuu scrubs. They just are never a favorite for me. I have a couple pairs and I really just don't reach for them. These ones are a little bit better though, because they're made of kind of that classic scrub fabric, which I feel like I prefer from them. I have a pair of their super stretchy ones, but the joggers, it's like a 3-pocket top, which I can't tuck in, and I like to tuck in my scrub tops. I don't know. So we'll start out with the Jaanuu Neo Classic Scrub Jogger, size small, $46. Feels like all these brands are pretty similar in pricing today. So these are the joggers. The material feels like a classic scrub material. Here's the material close up, really not a lot of stretch. So think like the classic figs material. This is their Fused Ricks fabric, so it's a polyester rayon spandex, which is a similar breakdown to the Dolan scrubs. Comes in size 2 extra small to 3XL and 3 different lengths for all of the bottoms. So we have this kind of more scrunchy style elastic waistband. We have little drawstrings, cute little aglets. This is a nice little touch. Can we see that? Okay, well, these are the aglets. They look a little more elevated. We have a side zipper pocket, a regular side pocket, and 2 back pockets, and I do get regular length in the joggers. All right, here are the bottoms. So they are a mid-rise. They go below my belly button. They have an elastic waistband and a typical drawstring. We have 2 front pockets. They are lined with, feels like slightly lighter weight material. We have 2 side pockets. We have this one that kind of splits into 2 here. You can fit a phone, but that's really more like on the back of your leg, so I probably wouldn't put it there. And then we have the zippered side pocket on the right side, which would fit a phone. Then we have 2 back pockets. These are my preferred style of back pockets. They're sewn. You don't have to worry about them getting all like crumpled up on the inside. I would say true to size. These ones are definitely not a super slim fit, kind of just like a classic like medium relaxed scrub fit, which I do like for my scrubs. We have a little room in the hips here, a little room around the knees. And then here's the full view. Here's a full view. This is the regular length, goes right about to my ankles. I do like the little cuffs down here. They are snug on my calves, but they don't feel too tight. And yeah, they definitely have a little bit of give to them. They're not gonna be the stretchiest scrubs, but I still would feel comfortable moving in these. And I will definitely get my use out of these. I like them. I just do prefer a high rise. I feel like things stay put a little bit better, the top stays tucked more, and that's just what I prefer. But overall, I'd say these are pretty nice. Next we have the Magna Classic scrub top. I got a size small, and this one is $36. So classic scrub material. We have a front pocket here, typical short sleeves, and then there are 2 kind of like more hidden side pockets here, and then there is some seam detailing along the back, but overall still definitely like more of a boxy shape. Let's try these on. All right, so here's the top. Classic scrub material, definitely a little bit on the thicker side, slightly brushed, so it's a little bit soft to the touch. We have a classic V-neck. I feel like this is good placement, not too low, not too high. We do have the pocket here. It is an internal pocket, so you're not seeing the stitching on the outside. It just kind of internally tucks, which isn't always my favorite style of pocket, but I am okay with it on tops. Mid-length sleeves here. We have the Jaanuu logo on that pocket, and I guess on the right sleeve as well. And this top has that front pocket, but it also has these 2 more hidden side pockets. They have other styles that are just a single pocket, the ones that have more front facing bottom pockets, or they have these ones with the side pockets. This feels like a convenient location, but I don't tend to need to carry too much stuff around. I know in some jobs where you wear scrubs, you definitely do have to hold more stuff, but for me, these pockets will really go unused. Overall, definitely a boxy fit, but I am happy with the size small because I definitely feel like it would get a little bit tight in the arms if I sized down. Overall, the stretch is very minimal, really just a little bit of give. Then the back is very plain as well, and I'll just quickly tuck it in. All right, so here's the top tucked in. I definitely feel like a single pocket top is the best for tucking in. Here, like, why would you buy a top with pockets if you're just gonna tuck it in and you can't even use the pockets? And with the pockets, they have a little bit of extra material, so it makes them harder to tuck, obviously. So just keep that in mind. I still think you could tuck it in, you're just gonna run into that like a little extra poofiness because of the pockets. Okay, and lastly is a brand that actually reached out to me and just wanted to send me a pair of scrubs. So their website really isn't even established at this point, so I'll have to keep you guys updated on when these actually launch and everything. But they reached out to me and they were like, hey, we're starting a scrub brand and we'd love to get your honest feedback. And I was like, okay, overnight me a box because I am filming a scrub review tomorrow. I only film these like once a year, so they reached out at the right time. So the brand is Create Amor, and this is the Essentials collection, and this is literally my first time even seeing these. First impressions, definitely feeling like a classic scrub material, potentially a little bit more lightweight. So this is the Rose one pocket top, women's royal blue. Again, in this kind of typical scrub material, I'm almost always a size small. The material is a polyester rayon spandex, which is basically the same kind of material as the Jaanuu, the Dolan figs, but it feels a little bit more on the lightweight, sleek side, so hopefully a little bit more pill prone than like the Dolan scrubs. All right, here is the close-up of the material. A little bit of give to it, maybe a little bit more stretch than some of the other ones, but not going to be nearly as stretchy as like the Fitscrubs or the Scope. And I told them that I prefer a one pocket top. And we do actually have some little seams down the back to maybe give it a little bit more of a tapered shape and not quite so oversized boxy. So let's try these on. All right, here's the top. So I have it tucked in currently, and because the bottoms are just a mid-rise, sometimes the tops don't stay tucked in super well for me, just because I have a very long torso. Just keep that in mind. Definitely would say that the small is true to size, just kind of skims my bust area. It's not too tight anywhere. This fabric is a little bit more lightweight than typical scrub brands, but still has that like same scrub feel. So I actually like the fabric a lot. It's not too hot or anything, and I tend to always be warm when I am doing my dentistry and everything, so I like things to be a little bit cooler. I feel like the V-neck is placed nicely. We have a nice spacious front pocket here. We have the logo here as well. And then if I were to untuck the top, we have little slits at the side here. Pretty long length, goes over my glutes a little bit, and I would say it's a slightly tapered fit, not too boxy. But yeah, definitely true to size, and I love the material, and I feel like this is a pretty solid scrub top. I don't even know the pricing of this stuff yet, so I can't speak to that, but hopefully it's about on par with everything else. All right, and then I got the Clover joggers in a size small. So these aren't listed as high rise or anything, and personally I do prefer a high rise just because I have a long torso, I'm tall, it just fits me better. But we have an elasticized waistband, kind of like the Jaanuu ones. And then we have a typical drawstring. We have the Create Amor logo here on the leg. We have a side zippered pocket. There are no front pockets though. Just kidding, there are front pockets. I just didn't see them. So they're kind of come in from the side. And then we have two back pockets. Then the ends are kind of like a smaller cuff situation. So let's try these on. All right, so here are the Clover joggers. They're definitely a mid-rise. I wouldn't consider a high rise until they sit over the belly button. For me, I prefer my scrubs to be a little higher. Overall, the fit is actually really good. I would definitely say true to size, pretty on par with other scrub brands. This is untucked, and I will tuck it in a second. Pretty typical drawstring. I would say the waist fits pretty good. It's definitely a snug fit, but I almost feel like these have maybe just a little more stretch than a typical scrub material like this. Definitely wouldn't call them stretchy, but I'm really not feeling too restricted. Pretty spacious to front pockets here. We do have a side zipper pocket, and that will fit a full phone. And then we have the back pockets. These are a pair of figs. I prefer my back pockets to be like this, where they're kind of sewn on in the back, because sometimes with pockets like this, they can be a little bit scrunched up like that, and you really have to make sure that they're all spread out, which I just feel like is something I don't really love to worry about. So these kind of internal pockets are not my number one fave. No pocket on the left side, just the right. Okay, so this is the full length view on me. Measurements are down below, but I'm 5'9", and these hit around where I like a jogger scrub to fit, kind of right above the ankles. They are a little bit snug throughout the calves, but again, this fabric feels snug, but it doesn't feel too restricting. I still feel like I can bend down. I have a little knee tightness, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, overall, I would prefer a higher rise, but I actually really like the material of these. It's a little bit more lightweight than a typical scrub material, so it's good for summer. And I feel like the fit and style is all pretty consistent. Sometimes with new brands, they don't really have the fit down quite yet, but I feel like these fit pretty well. And the jogger inseam in the regular length is 28 inches. And then we also got the Ivy joggers. So two different styles of joggers. The main difference I'm noticing is definitely the waistband. So this is the waistband of the Clover jogger. It's just kind of like a more scrunched up material of the body of the joggers. And then these are the Ivy joggers. It's more of like a sweater type material, so maybe more of like a yoga style waistband, a lot of brands call it. So we do have those two front pockets. We still have the zippered side pocket, and the back pockets are more like an internal pocket than sewn onto the outside. And then the cuffs at the bottom also differ between the Clover and Ivy. So these are the Clover joggers. It's got a little elastic inside, just kind of scrunched up material. And then this is the Ivy jogger, kind of like a more classic, like almost like sweatpant jogger style material. Let's try these on. All right, and here are the Ivy jogger bottoms. So I feel like the fit is almost identical to the Clover bottoms. We just have that different waistband. So this waistband is a little bit softer, but I feel like if you are in an environment where there's a lot of liquids and everything, this is going to hold on to water a little more. So I feel like for me, I prefer the Clover ones, and I've not tightened the waistband or anything yet. So I'm gonna tuck these in, tighten up the waistband. All right, so again, these fit very similar to the last ones. I feel like they fit very well. I'm actually liking the waistband now that it's nice and tightened. I feel like it might keep the top tucked in better. We have those same front pockets, the same side zipper pockets, and then the same back pockets that again are not my favorite style of pockets, but I'm still glad to have a back pocket. Again, just a little bit of give to them, but I would say that they're stretchier than like the Jaanuu ones. Really, I would not say that they are super stretchy, so let's just get that out of the way. But they do have a little bit more stretch than those. All right, full length view. They hit to basically the same place as the other joggers, except we have a slightly different cuff at the bottom. I feel like this is more similar to like a Figs Zamora jogger style cuff. But yeah, I do believe that they have long options, but I always wear regular lengths in joggers and only long in straight leg pants. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with the fit of these. The fabric is really nice. I really do feel like it'll be pill resistant. I definitely will be wearing these on a daily basis. I like them enough that I would go back and wear these, so I will have to keep you guys updated on the quality updates if these do hold up over time. All right guys, that is it for the review. I feel like overall, definitely good things to say about all of these scrubs. There are definitely a couple things that I've noticed about the ones that I've had for a while. There are definitely a couple pros and cons to each of them. I wouldn't say any of them are like my new everyday go-to scrub, but I am definitely excited to wear more of the Jaanuu ones, the Create Amor ones. Comment down below what you'd like to see next. I was thinking about doing an updated Figs scrub review because my last Figs review was like 3 years ago, and they have a lot of new styles now that I feel like would be nice to do an update on, so go ahead and comment down below if you'd like to see that. Give this video a thumbs up if you made it this far, and subscribe if you're not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!